What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Fett, our Boba Fett review, guys. My name is Kyle, your host. Welcome to Project Potter. If you guys have not been here before, we're going through every episode of Book of Boba Fett here, guys. Or should I say Book of Mando, because once again, guys, no Boba Fett in this episode. This is the second straight episode we haven't seen Boba Fett in the Book of Boba Fett. Guys, if you haven't seen the series before, thanks for checking out the channel. Appreciate you guys. I just give my quick thoughts on the episode and a score out of 10. So, guys, we're getting right into it here. Things I really liked in this episode, guys. Luke freaking Skywalker. I mean, guys, let me just say that this technology has come so far. I guess this was apparently Mark Hamill, and they just de-aged the shit out of him. And it looks fantastic, dude. So Rogue One, I think, had Leia at the end, and then also Tarkin. I thought Tarkin looked pretty bad, but Leia I thought looked pretty good. This guy's, though, I mean, god damn, does it look good, dude. I couldn't believe it. I was like, is that another actor? I was like, is that Sebastian Stan? I was like, what's going on here? Luke looks freaking awesome. One thing I will say, guys, is that I think some of the dialogue and some of the lines in this episode took me out of it, where I was like, oh, this isn't, like, I thought Luke visually looked cool. Just thought there were lines where he didn't seem like he really knew what he was doing. And I like that because, you know, if we think about Luke, guys, like, his father didn't train him to be a Jedi, but Obi-Wan did. And, you know, Obi-Wan showed him the ropes. And so I thought he would kind of install that. And he kind of is. And Yoda trained with him, too, obviously. And we get the whole recreation of the Dagobah scene. And I was like, we don't need this. We don't really need this. He puts on the backpack. I was just like, we did this already. So we get Ahsoka that shows up. That was really cool. Rosario Dawson is so good as Ahsoka. Some things I didn't like, guys. The more we see of Grogu, Let me be clear. Grogu is the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life. I love Grogu with all of my heart. Like, I would die for Grogu. The more we see him move around, though, and now you're starting to get into this, like, okay, when he got the armor or the chainmail from Mando, you're like, okay, so he's gonna fight, but it's like Grogu is like very limited as what he can do. Like, he waddles, and that's kind of it. And, you know, he reaches and stuff, and it's cute, and he throws up on himself. But we start to see Grogu, like, training the ways of the Force, and he's doing like flips and stuff, and it just like reminded me of Yoda flipping in the prequels. And I'm like, this just doesn't look good. Like, I don't want this Grogu. The magic of Grogu is like a little bit less. And it's actually interesting that we get this episode, because there's two characters, I think, where Luke and Grogu, or de-aged Luke and Grogu, I should say. It's special because we haven't gotten a lot of them. Luke at the end of Mando season 2 was awesome. It was an amazing reveal because we got his face, and I was like, this looks great. They did a really good job with the technology here, but I'm like, the more I saw of Luke, the less cool he became. This is taking me out of it. I'm feeling the immersion is coming right out, because I can tell that this is like obviously like a de-aging job. Same thing with Grogu, right? Both of these characters are great because we see glimpses of them, or like they're doing minimal action, especially with Grogu. The more you do with Grogu, I think the less it looks. So, guys, Cad Bane. I haven't seen Clone Wars. I haven't seen Rebels. I don't really care. I know who Cad Bane is. He's an okay character, I think. He looks fucking badass in the show. Dude, what a reveal for him to slowly walk up. I knew it was Cad Bane right away because he's got the hat and he's walking by. And you're just like, oh, man. The Western vibes in this episode are awesome. Not Westworld, but the Western vibes. The way he comes up and just like how his voice is so deep and like terrifying. And he's just an immediate badass. And you're like, oh, dude, you don't want to mess with this guy. We get the sheriff back, too. The guy that had Boba's original armor from the season 2 opener, or season 2 of Mando. That guy's awesome. I really love that guy. I'm glad he came back, and he was like a badass at the beginning where the pikes can roll up. And he's like, I don't know who told you, but he's like, I'm the sheriff in these parts. And Mando goes to see him, and Naboo's fighter is so awesome. And he's like, is that a Naboo fighter? And he's like, it used to be. He's like, let me put a fucking big ass engine in it, dude. Obviously, Mando going to see Grogu and like seeing Luke and Grogu like at the tree, and Ahsoka's like, you can't see him because it's just going to make this harder for him. And he's like, I came all this way and I just need to give this to him. And Ahsoka's like, I'll give it to him. And Mando knows that he can't see Grogu because that they're trying to get rid of that attachment. And especially with Jedi, where they're supposed to shed all attachment, that's not going to help Grogu. If Grogu's going to become a Jedi master, or he's going to be trained as a Jedi, he can't be attached to Mando. And so it's really, really sad because Mando he knows that's right. And so he just hands it to them. And he basically just has to go back home and turn around, and then he's going to go help Boba Fett, I guess, which Boba apparently is in the show. It's called The Book of Boba Fett. It's 7 episodes. 2 of them, we don't get any Boba Fett. It doesn't make any sense. I'm jumping into the score here, guys. It's an 8.7. The reason it's not higher is despite some really awesome moments. Oh, I did mention too, guys, obviously we get Luke training with Grogu and like Grogu trying to eat the frog, which is really cute. And then Luke is like, dude, and he's like, let me show you how you use the Force. And then he gets like all the frogs up and drops them down. He's basically saying like, let me show you how to do this. And then at the end, guys, really quick, I guess we're in the score, but we're not in the score. Welcome to Project Potter. At the end, we get Luke being like, you need to make a choice. And I don't really understand why he can't do both, but I guess he's giving him an ultimatum where he says like, look, you can take this chainmail. He's like, this little bitch ass chainmail is gonna protect you from like blasters, maybe. He's like, or, and he's like, you go back to Mando, no problem. He's like, or, and he's like, lights it up, and he's like, you can get this dope ass lightsaber. And he was like showing off to Grogu in the forest where he's like doing shit with his green lightsaber. And he's like, it's up to you. He's like, it looks like totally your call, bro. He's like, little bitch ass armor for a baby. He's like, or lightsaber can kill people and cuts through. And he's like, look how cool this shit is. And he's like, it's up to you. You'd think that Grogu's going to choose the lightsaber, right? Because then otherwise it's like, why did you go train with Luke if you're just going to go back to Mando? I kind of hope that he just stays with Luke and then like Mando doesn't see him at all in season three, even though this is season 3 because we've had 2 episodes of Mando already. I hope he doesn't see Grogu for a while and then Grogu comes back and he's just like kicking ass, or he like just shows up with a lightsaber and he's like older. I need like, you know how Marvel did like teenage Groot? I need teenage Grogu. I've like gotten over the baby Grogu at this point where I'm like, look, he's super cute. I need like a time jump where I see him like actually moving around and kicking ass and being badass, like almost like a teen Gohan in DBZ. You know what I mean? Like he needs to grow out of it. So the reason this is not a higher score, despite the awesome Cad Bane, despite seeing Luke in the flesh, I thought they held on to him too long. Despite seeing Ahsoka, Mando going over here, getting the sheriff, a lot of really awesome moments. I definitely did not dislike this episode. The reason it's not higher, guys, is number one, because this is called the Book of Boba Fett. Okay, and this is now the 2nd episode in a row where we've gotten a Mandalorian episode, which is great, but these should have been the first 2 episodes in season 3 of Mandalorian. We should have gotten a cameo with Din. We should have gotten something quick with Grogu maybe, or that probably should have been a season 3 thing. And then that would have been it. And let's go back to Boba's story. Guys, I almost literally forgot that this was the Boba Fett show because we haven't seen the main character in 2 episodes, which is unheard of for a short series. And I was so excited for Boba's story. And now it's like, it sounds like they're just gonna, I don't know if there's gonna be a season 2, but they're just throwing like the Pike War in here, and then Boba's probably just gonna take them down or something. Or I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm not really interested in the main story. I was just interested in Din and Grogu and their story and Luke, and for all of the cool badass moments, and there were a lot of badass moments here. The dialogue was kind of off, like I mentioned, where Luke just had some lines where I was like, this feels either robotic or just like Luke doesn't really know what he's doing. And again, that's fine because he is a Jedi Master and he's got to train Yoda. And we know Luke gets the Jedi Temple. And let me say, guys, seeing R2-D2 was amazing. That was really, really awesome. They're really like pulling on the nostalgic heartstrings in this one. I don't know if it was like because it was TV and it felt a little more low budget, even though a lot of this episode looked really good, or what happened. But I just felt like some of the dialogue or some of the big moments just weren't quite there for me. And again, I'm just like, all right. We love the Mando episode. Having it again, I would have liked this episode to have a quick Mando goes to see Grogu or whatever, and he's like, oh, he's doing well. And he's like, cool, now I can go fight with Boba. Instead, he doesn't really, he knows he's safe, and Ahsoka says, like, oh, this is the safest place in the galaxy. But he doesn't really get like a resolution from that. He just is like, okay, first of all, he knows Luke is powerful, obviously, because when Luke kicked ass in the end of season 2, but he's kind of just like trusting this youngling to Luke Skywalker, and we don't know if he knows of Luke Skywalker yet, or like if Luke is famous in the galaxy. I'm sure he is, but like, does Mando know that? He didn't say like, oh, Luke, it's Luke Skywalker, or like, are you Skywalker or whatever, but he mentioned Skywalker like 25 times when he shows up. So I don't know, we're just getting hit over the head with Skywalker stuff. And I love Luke, guys. I love Luke Skywalker. I love the original trilogy. All that stuff is great. The Skywalker saga is amazing. But they kind of capped that with the sequel trilogy. Guys, can we just talk about how Luke made Grogu remember Order 66? And he's like, do you want to remember? And he's like, I'll show you. And then he just like makes him remember all the shit. And Grogu's like, bro, I blocked all that shit out. He's like, why did you bring that up? I was like, why did we need Grogu to see that? Okay, we understand Grogu was at Order 66 and he was saved, but it's just strange. There's just pieces of the story I think that are like all over the place, and so that's why it's not getting like a high 9s for me. But I thought some of the reveal pieces, especially Cad Bane, I thought was so awesome, and I was like, oh my god, dude! Like I need live action Cad Bane and everything now. He seems like an awesome villain, and I don't know if there's going to be a big villain reveal in the finale now because we got Cad Bane, or if Cad is going to be it, or he's leading the Pikes. I guess that's like the big reveal, but I don't know. It was a good episode. Okay, guys, well, that's another episode of Fett. Thanks for checking out the channel. We got one more episode, guys, and then I don't know if there's going to be a season 2. I don't want a season 2, to be honest with you. I'm disappointed with this show, despite these last 2 episodes being strong. It's a bad sign that the 2 episodes that I like the most, and I think that most people are loving, are Mandalorian episodes. We had a Mandalorian show, then we put another Mandalorian show in called The Book of Boba Fett. Cool, Boba Fett, iconic character. Let's build on interesting stuff with Boba. Instead, it was like a slow burn, and now for 2 episodes, we just completely went away from him. The 2 episodes, to me, of being focused on Mando, show me that either they have a really cool story for season 2, or it shows me that they didn't have enough cool stuff about Boba, so they had to fill time, and they were like, well, how about Mando? Everyone likes Mando. You like Grogu? You guys like Grogu? And so I'm like, well, why did you even make this show in the first place then if you didn't have like a really good story? So I don't know. I don't have a ton of faith in where the story is going. I could care less about the Pikes, even though I think they look kind of cool. And I don't really care. The spice trade stuff is cool. And Cad Bane being like, as long as the spice keeps going, no one's going to get hurt. I like that stuff, but I'm not really excited for the finale, but we'll see how it goes, guys. Thanks for checking out the channel. Thanks for checking out the content. And till next week, guys. Peace.